So, David, this is a very tricky assignment, even for a bloke like you. I mean, how did you go about it? You got to India, you got to New Delhi. To get inside with the protesters, what did you have to do?
We had a contact there called Tenzing, who was one of the leaders, known as a general, to do with the Tibetan demonstrators, and he promised us that if I got up there, there'd be something worthwhile doing. And I said, can we come and do an interview with you? Can I come and do an interview with you with my fixer? He said, all right, you can do that at 10 o'clock in the morning in a park in the middle of Delhi.
So he wouldn't meet you just anywhere?
Wouldn't meet us anywhere, and he said, come to this park at 10 o'clock, I'll be under a tree.
Covering the torch.
We went over there to the park, rang him on his mobile, and he said, here, I can see you. I'm under this tree here, we can see him. Very cloak and dagger. So over we went. He was very suspicious. He was worried about the police, the security agencies being around. He took us around the back under a wall where I did this interview.
We have a large number of people, Tibetans from all over the country are coming in all different batches, and we don't even know what number that would be, because people are coming on their own in groups of 10s and 15s or even hundreds, from schools, monasteries, individuals from refugee camps. People are coming on their own in trains and buses and in many different ways. So they will do their own protests. So we'll have to see who's better, the security, 15,000 security personnel or the Tibetans who are coming on their own.
Then I said, look, I want to come with you today and spend time with you preparing for the demonstration tomorrow. He said, if you get yourself in your car, come to a certain spot, I'll send somebody out on a motorbike to bring you into where I am. So myself and my field producer there, we went in the car, we arrived in this place out on the outskirts of New Delhi. A guy came along on a bike, smiled and said, please put your camera in your bag, follow me into this compound. So I went down through these alleyways, up some stairs into this dark apartment, and there he was on the floor with his comrades with maps, phones going off everywhere, planning the demonstration for the next day.
I'm trying to figure out, which place is the best way where we can try to grab the torch.
It was like going into, say, Iraq, finding one of the rebel leaders or something like this. It was very, very strange.
Almost like a war plan that they were doing.
It was very much like a war plan, and that's the way they organised it. He had his captains with him, which were head of various groups that were going to scatter around the torch area the next day, but they were paranoid about being picked up.
Everywhere the police is following them, and
the police are following them?
Yeah. So if they found any groups, they are caught. So it's really hard to manage all the things.
We have almost about 600 to 700 Tibetans who are going to be deputed under their commander, under their commandership to all different places. They are presently hiding in all different places, and they will direct them where to go and when to go.
While the Tibetan protesters were in their so-called war room, setting out where they would demonstrate on the day of the torch relay, I heard there was another demonstration going on nearby. India is very proud of being the largest democracy in the world. Well, so it be. But they have this small area, about 400, 500 yards long, where anybody can go and demonstrate. Like demonstration
just
corner.
A demonstration strip.
Just a demonstration strip, a part of a road. So I went there.
So an officially sanctioned area that they can go to and demonstrate.
Yes, a locked off area which they can go and officially demonstrate and do what they like. It was something the Indian authorities wanted to do, was to allow the Tibetans to demonstrate a day before the actual torch run. The police were there, of course, but that was about 4 or 5 kilometres from where the torch was going to run.
Well, knowing India, probably that's about half an hour at least.
At least in a car. So I got amongst them there, and it was really powerful stuff to see these people who are really emotionally involved about getting their own country back. There was an Indian MP who got up and spoke about what the Chinese should do with Tibet, give it back to their people.
He was anti-China.
He was anti-China.
We cannot afford to celebrate the Olympics. Olympics is for peace. Olympic is for unity. Olympic is a movement for glorifying the unification of the whole world. But this cannot be possible if the basic human rights are being curtailed, the innocent people are being killed, and the basic spirit of freedom is being suppressed. You cannot curtail the democratic voice of the people in India. That is why I'm upset with the stand taken by our own government.
It was really heavy stuff what he was talking about, but just to see the old people, the old Tibetans who've been living in India for all their lives, who are just there, and the young ones. I mean, this thing's not going to get better. It's going to get worse until something's done. You can see it in their faces.
In Tibet! In Tibet! In Tibet!
And so they allowed me to stay with them till it got very dark that night. They did all their planning, went back to the hotel, arranged to meet them again at another safe house at 9 o'clock in the morning on the Thursday. They'd been working on it for 4 months, all over India, just for this one day. It was their big opportunity, because the torch being in Delhi, the international media being there, and they didn't want to get caught before it even started, and they couldn't demonstrate. So it was really heavy, heavy stuff of what they were doing to stop getting caught by the security agency.
We'll stick on, on the schedule. It'll be on a very flexible way.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, if we just stick on that, who knows, the schedule might be changed in the last moment. So we have to keep it in such a way, in a very flexible, and we can hit on a 3 different way.
How many were involved in this hardcore of generals?
About 8 of them sitting around.
Were they all from Dharamsala?
They were all from Dharamsala. They were all Tibetans, and they were the leaders of about 600 or 700 demonstrators they had organised for the Thursday.
Did you get the feeling, dealing with them the way you did for hours on end, by the sound of it, were they violent people? Were they inclined towards violent, or were they the peaceful Buddhist types that we think they are?
They kept saying to me, we want to do a peaceful demonstration. We're not into violence. We want to have a peaceful demonstration just to show our cause, to talk about what is happening in Tibet.
So they were trying to stay ahead of the police were trying to stay ahead of them? Absolutely.
And so the phones are going off and they're changing all the time. And their phones were being tapped. And so some calls are coming in and saying, oh, I am from AP television or from Reuters, and they knew they weren't.
Hello.
These people are asking them, where are you going to demonstrate? We want to be there.
How did you convince them that you weren't a spook?
Well, it took a while because they were very suspicious of me, but after a while they knew I was from Australia and they put trust into me. Before they actually left, they all got in a big huddle and free Tibet, hugged each other, and then off they went. They're on the case.
Okay. Yeah. Free Tibet! All right. Hope for the success.
I went with one of these captains in his car. We stopped about a quarter of an hour out from where we were, picked up all the flags.
They were heading towards the torch?
They were tried to head towards the torch or to another safe house where 100 or so demonstrators were waiting to go and demonstrate. But we got held up in the traffic.
We are wasting the time here.
We couldn't get anywhere, and he was starting to panic because he had these people waiting for him. So he did a U-turn, somehow got back, left the car, got into a subway, went about 8 or 9 stops in the subway, got out of the subway, got into some rickshaws, went to this apartment building, again around the back stairs, up in the dark, and there were 100 people from ages from 70 down to about 10 or 11 getting ready to be picked up in some combi vans and taken to the demonstration. They were getting Free Tibet written on their arms and T-shirts. It was a very, very moving moment. We left that last safe house with the 100 or so demonstrators getting into combi vans. It was like the president's White House carpool going out somewhere. It was huge.
Ready?
We got out on the road to about 3 or 4 kilometres away from where the torch was going to start its run, and the police stopped us. They came over to our car, then they saw the demonstrators, the monks, in the cars behind ours, and they said, what are you doing? And they knew. So I got out, started to film the police checking them, and all of a sudden the back doors on these combi vans opened up, and these quietly spoken, quiet people got out, put on their red robes and their banners and screamed down the road, straight past the police knocking people down. Then they came, 2 kilometres further on, they came to a barricade, a big police barricade, where there were police in riot gear and a couple of police buses and so forth waiting if they arrested people. Then it was on for young and old. They tried to break through the barrier. The police stopped them, obviously. One of them fainted and they're throwing water over him. Another one broke his shoulder. They put him to the ambulance. And there was a woman standing beside him saying, please, to the policeman, don't hurt him, don't hurt him. And this went on for about 15-20 minutes. Then they arrested most of them, put them into the police buses and drove them off.
So it sounds to me, Dave, as though it was only partly a success. I mean, the police did thwart them. They never got near the torch. On the other hand, they made a lot of noise that the international media has recorded. You know, we now know what they're on about, that's for sure. Did they regard their whole exercise, their whole strategy, because that's what it was?
It was like a military operation,
as a success?
The way they set it up. I don't think so. Partly, yes, but not overall, because they couldn't get anywhere. They just couldn't. The barricades were so far back. New Delhi had been closed down that day since 1 o'clock. All the government officials were allowed to go home. So it was like a Sunday, except for the barricades and the police. So they couldn't get close to the torch at all. And also, George, they didn't want to tell the media exactly where they were, because they didn't know whether they were the media or the secret police ringing them up.
Well, we saw the trouble you had getting any information at all yourself.
Yes, well, yes, and I was in with them very, very closely.
Yeah, but nobody had any doubt what they were about.
No one had any doubt what they were about.